All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Ask
Light
Todd.
crew today.
Okay.
I have to say it's a light crew, don't you? I mean, what, you're not going to address it off the bat? Off the top?
131. It's
I
131.
didn't even have a
All
chance
right.
to say anything off the bat. I had said all rights.
I think a lot of people wait to hear the intro before they join.
Exactly.
You know what I
they,
mean?
they want to know
Yeah, I know.
that we've introduced the show.
Some people.
Yeah.
Some
Agreed.
people
do.
Some people are like that.
All right, you know what? You're fine. You had a whole thing planned, I guess, and I'm just going to turn off. I'm going to turn off. I'm actually just going to watch today. This is kind of like
you're just gonna mute.
treat.
You're just gonna
I'm
go
just
back
going to
on
mute.
mute.
I'm going to
You're
mute.
just gonna go back on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So,
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad I muted. This guy was being so annoying.
Oh, hey, Kyle. I think,
Kyle, we can hear
What?
you, man. We can still hear you.
Turn off the video.
Kyle, I think you left your microphone on.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna
Your
try
mic
it
is
one more
almost
time.
definitely
Let me know
on.
if it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something
You could
really
just
unpleasant.
you could just stop talking to yourself too. That's another
Or just
option.
like stop talking.
Hasn't
In
worked
general.
before. Got to do it. Part of my process. Okay, here we go. Found the button.
So Tyler, why are we here?
Yeah, so we are here today. I'm glad you asked, Todd. That's the first question of Ask Todd, by the way. So if only you could answer that question, you know what I mean? But yes, we are here today to do another episode of Ask Todd Live. So for those of you who don't know what Ask Todd Live is, it's sort of like before there was the internet and before there was the opportunity to just get information really readily available at your fingertips, which you can do now today, no problem really. Before then, you would go and ask somebody for advice. You'd ask them questions. Sometimes it was wise old sages on mountaintops. Sometimes it was philosophers in luxurious robes. And sometimes it was like just this guy you knew, this sort of town person.
We could do a shorter version of this, I think.
I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it. So sometimes it was just this guy, and you'd go to him with questions. And that's really what this show is. It falls into that kind of last category of, we don't have any area of expertise. Todd doesn't really know anything. He's like a jack of all trades. But he's here to answer your questions for better or worse. That's kind of our tagline.
Let me just clarify. Let me clarify that because I think jack of all trades is very. I think it's a bit of a reductionist, and I don't like the stigma that comes with it. I like to think of myself as a jock of all trades, which just sounds like I'm more of a Renaissance
like a jock,
man, maybe. And no, that's not
like
what
a jock,
I'm saying.
like an athlete.
No, I'm saying the French word for jack, which is Jacques. And Kyle has a question. He says he wants to hear more about these guys in robes. Okay, so that's not. I don't think that's Jacques me like a hurricane. That's kind of fun, but also not a question. So I want to just invite you guys. Even if you have to use random question generators like Carmody does sometimes, go ahead and bring some questions in. I'm here to answer what's going on in your life and the questions that are plaguing you right now.
We got a great question in there already. Great question.
All right. Do you want to ask it for me, Tyler?
Yeah, I'll ask it for you. I'll be the middleman. Todd, you've been back and forth on this issue for months. I'm going to need your final answer. Monkeys, very funny or too scary?
Right. And this is a great question. And
it's a great question.
I think it's something that a lot of us deal with. And the reason why it is a question that matters, because I think that some people might hear it and think this isn't a question that matters. But if you've ever been to a zoo or, some other kind of menagerie, you've probably come face to face with a monkey at some point. And what happens when you do that is your body reacts in a very strange way. You become split between two very strong feelings. One of them, of course, is a case of the goofs, as I like to call it, which means you think that something's funny. And one is what I call a case of the spooks, which is you think it's very scary. So it's the goofs or the spooks. And, I think that the reason why people have so much of an inner turmoil is because they can't figure out which it is. And so the answer, to that question, because we do have some others coming in here now, the answer to that question is very funny, scary.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's an okay answer.
Yeah, this is exactly what I thought you were going to say.
Kind of
okay.
So wait, I'm sorry.
So we got a fence sitter here. Yeah, it's never worked together.
Playing it safe.
It's a little bit of column A and it's a little bit of column B, like is going to the dentist helpful or painful? Guess what, Kyle?
No, monkeys are either very funny or they're way too scary.
I don't think you understand the goof spook equation that Todd is laying out there.
That is absolutely true that I do not understand that.
They're goof spooky, kind of.
Okay, so both words
I understand it. I feel like Tyler's mustache just kind of falls into the goof spook kind of category. I mean, there's even more going on. It's more than just the
uncanny valley. Okay,
that's what I'm going for. I want people to see me and think, hey, that guy's funny, but I'm kind of scared of him. I'm a little scared of that guy. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah, that's why I don't have my video on this, because I don't want people to see how kind of intimidated I am, but also confused.
Yeah, how wide your eyes are right now. Yeah.
So we do, among other things.
Yeah. We do have some questions that are coming in. You guys are asking some great questions. I want to get to these for sure. So let's jump straight into Andre's question here. I have a hammock and a rocking chair. Which do we keep?
Sure. And that's and this is another very common question. So first, I'll start by saying that we is a word that you used, which I'm assuming that you either have roommates or a significant other that you lived with. And so that's why I'm going to say rocking chair. The reason is with a hammock, sometimes someone wants to join you in a hammock, and there's no way to be comfortable with two people in a hammock. You can start on separate sides, but you're going to end up in the middle. And then this is something that you're going to be dealing with is a feeling of the other person just overwhelming you and sucking at your will to live. And so stick with the rocking chair, and then make sure that the other person you live with knows that they aren't invited.
Todd, did you and your family grow up in observing a Toyota sales event or celebrating Happy Honda Days? That's a question from Lauren.
Yeah,
that's a great question, by the way, Lauren.
This is a great question. And I know that a lot of times we try to stay away from talking about religion, because these are things that are personal to us. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about it here. And just say that my parents were devout Hondidians, and they did observe the Happy Honda Days. I now drive a Honda myself. My parents have never had one. They're the kind of people who observe, but only from a distance. You know what I mean? They're not devout Hondidians.
Yeah.
And
you know what? You know what I like about Honda, Todd, and I get why you'd celebrate Honda Days, is they're always helping people. I see these commercials, they're always helping people. They're always
and you know what? Yeah. Right now, more than ever, we're in this together.
Yeah, during this time.
It's we're in this together, and they're here for us, and they've been saying that in their ads, and no one else is saying it.
Yeah, no one's saying that right now. That's a good point, man. Kara's got another great question, a two-parter this time. What's your favorite portmanteau? And have you coined one that we should and have you coined one that we should start using?
I think I coin a new portmanteau. I would say every week. I was going to say every day, but that's just not accurate.
I think it's a portmanteau. I think that's the word.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Sorry, go ahead. Please continue.
No.
It's fine.
Thank you for that. I appreciate
it's okay. Let's pretend like I'm not the Jacques of all trades. Okay. I know how French words are pronounced. Okay. I've been there. I've been to French. Too recently. I think too recently you've been to France. Yeah. Dangerously recently.
Yeah.
So I did come up with a portmanteau 2 days ago that I really liked, actually. I was talking to a friend, and she said that she can always tell when people are Canadian. She said, I have good Canadian radar, and I called it Canadar. And I thought that was a fun one. It's not one that you can use in everyday conversation necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's one.
But you can find excuses to use it if you try hard enough. Like you could say, for example, when you're watching the Olympics, if they ever happen, you could watch as they are starting to kind of show up as their teams. And when Borneo or whoever is before Canada starts walking down, you could say, my Canadar is going off. I'll bet you Canada is going to show up next. And then, then they do. So
what was the next question? Did we,
what is the best fruit?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Thanks so much for writing in there, Lucas. So the best fruit is really any fruit that you can is the closest fruit to you, right? So so what is important is not necessarily the nutritional value that you're going to get from it, or the texture of it, or even the flavor. It's really availability. And because no one eats fruit because they like it, you know, that's just a fact. The only reason any of us eat fruit is so we don't get scurvy. And we learned this from Hernando Cortez. We learned this from Christopher Columbus, Sir Francis Drake. These are three people who lived on boats a lot, and they knew a lot about scurvy. And vitamin C keeps it at bay, I think, or at least that's what people believed 500 years ago. And so just take whatever fruit is closest to you, and that's the best one.
Those are all good examples of jocks, by the way. Like you were saying, you're a jock. Those are jocks of all trades, those guys.
I was not saying I'm a jock.
I'm
not saying I'm a jock.
Well, but you know, but in a lot of ways you could be seen as a jock of all trades, I think.
A jock of all trades.
Right. Okay.
Do you hear how we're saying different things?
My internet connection's really bad, so I can't hear most of what you're saying.
I would love you to try.
It's just like grr, grr. Okay. It's like this kind of loud, white, noisy, kind of buzzy sound that keeps going on my side. Okay. And I don't know if that's happening for anyone else, but Todd, Carmody has a question, and doesn't look like she generated this one from a website, so I want to make sure we get to this. Hey, Todd, so usually we can react to your responses with emoji to show how much we enjoyed or didn't enjoy, if you know what I mean. Since we can't do this on Ask Todd Live, should we turn on our cameras so you can see our reactions? Yes. Or would you prefer to just pretend that we are all laughing and enjoying what you say?
I would. Okay, here's the one caveat, because I do want to see all of your faces. I like that I have some of your pictures here, but I would love to see all of your faces. But the only reason why I'm a little bit hesitant is who was it? Who was it? A couple Ask Todd lives ago, I could tell that someone was starting to get distracted with work in the middle of it. Yeah, it was Meredith. That's right. And she was just starting to kind of drift and not pay attention. And that was very.
I think that was a bit. She told me later that was a bit. She goes, "I'm gonna." A bit. Yeah. Well, I mean, these are her words, so I don't feel bad sharing this. But she did say she was going to troll your ass. Gonna say that it was like she was being something more important doing, and but she was waiting for you to flip shit.
I'm sorry, you said those were her exact words?
Exact words, yeah, I believe so. Meredith, if you're on the call, please feel free to step up and spill the tea.
I don't think Meredith is
Meredith's not on the call. She can't really defend herself, but because she's not on the call, I don't really have any choice but to assume that Kyle's telling the truth, I think.
I'm a journalist, basically.
Yeah. Is that how we want to handle this, Todd? Like that's what happened?
I guess it's what happened. I mean, I don't have any facts to deny it, and that's how science works. Carmody, yes, turn your camera on, is my response. I don't know why you still haven't done it unless you've left the chat.
Yeah, that's not Carmody, so
that's
not helpful.
Oh, there
we go.
There
all right.
She is.
And listen, I want to say, as the producer, sort of like the showrunner for this, a lot of behind the scenes kind of guy.
You're an associate producer. You're not even an executive producer. So
as a nearly full producer of the show, I think that it's important that I mention that we don't want trolls on this.
Right.
This is, I know that it's fun to goof off. We're goofing. We're having a good time. We're goofing off. You can call me Tyler Goof if you want to.
Okay.
But this is serious. Like, some of the questions you ask are serious questions, and Todd's answering these things to help you out. This isn't a comedy show. So please, if you're going to be on, try to be respectful. Take a leaf out of
sorry.
Alice's
Alice
book.
wants some attention. Hey guys, I'm sorry. I interrupt you. Alice does want some attention, and maybe we could all help. Hey, you have the floor.
Okay, Alice, what's up?
Yeah, Alice, there's something you want to share?
I got a cool background. That's it.
Did you download that from the Procore backgrounds?
No, should I put it up there?
Yes.
These are great. Okay, so Michael Nolan.
Kara, yeah, I got it, Todd. I got a question for you. Sorry, I'm ready to go. Hey, Todd, have you experienced any Zoom fatigue? Capital F there, so it's like a real condition. If so, how are you coping? If not, how are you avoiding it?
This is from Katrina.
Yes, this is from Katrina. Sorry, Katrina.
You know what? I finally read an article about Zoom fatigue, I think 2 days ago, something like that. And it made me feel very justified because I do feel it. I generally feel fatigued anytime I get to interact with another human being. And Zoom, I do think, magnifies that a bit. It makes it zoom in. It zooms in on my fatigue. And it makes me want to zoom in on my pillow, if you know what I mean. Don't laugh at that. That wasn't a joke.
Okay.
No, it was kind of gross, actually.
Thank you, Michael.
It makes me
uncomfortable. It was a portmanteau, I believe, if I'm not.
No, it wasn't a
portmanteau. You do not understand what that word means.
You really don't. It's like that one time.
It's not even a joke. Like beyond this show, you don't get it.
Tyler, it's like the one time that you thought you knew what ad hoc meant, but then like you kept pointing into trees and saying, "Look, an ad hoc."
Yeah.
No, he was in the beast.
I saw that. I saw a hawk. I saw an ad hoc, so that was why I was.
That's
trying to
ad
tell
hoc.
I think
it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. There's another great question that just came through, Todd, that I want to share. I've got a good one pulled up for us. This is from Alice. Hi, Todd. I noticed both you and Tyler are wearing AirPods, but neither of you are ripping jewels or wearing sunglasses indoors. Which one of you am I supposed to learn how to bro down from? And Todd, before you speak, I want to just address something really quickly with this question, something that I kind of noticed.
Sure.
I know that you're going to have your own instinct to answer this in your own way, but I feel like before we even do that, we should address that there's only one jock of all trades on this call, and there's no bigger bros on earth than a jock, and we all know that. So it's clear that the person that you would learn to bro down from is Mr. Jock of all trades himself, my portmanteau in crime, Todd Dakin.
Okay. You're missing so many of the words that it's like you don't understand how French culture works, and that makes me sick. As a Francophile myself,
you're not even wearing a scarf though, Todd. Like I'm like, how am I supposed to take you seriously?
You don't know that. I'm not wearing one around my neck, but you don't know I'm not wearing a scarf.
You know, I stand corrected.
You don't know that.
I stand corrected.
And so as a Jacques of all trades, I will say that, wait, what was the question again? It was a kind of a long one.
Which one of us is the best person to teach Alice how to bro down?
It's me, Alice. It's me.
That's what I was trying to say. How come you got defensive?
I don't know that it was defensive, but we have Corey on the call, and Corey believes that I think he's a better authority on the bro. Oh, it must be because it's in your name. Okay, maybe that's why.
Good one.
Fair.
Hey Todd, have you ever considered having an after show, something like Talking Todd? I feel like Kyle would be down for hosting.
I'm not an on-camera. Listen, I'm going to take this one. Sorry, dude. Hey, no problem. I got this one. So I am not.
No, the show hasn't. No, the show hasn't
I'm
started
not
yet.
on camera.
No,
I've said this a million times. I'm not on camera. I do not want camera time. Okay?
Yeah, I was asking Todd.
I don't want to be involved in this project. It seems like they're two best friends hanging out doing a fun thing. Not for me.
I was asking Todd here, man. Like,
yeah, I know.
You just chewed up airtime.
We have some stuff going on.
Kyle, listen. Yeah, Todd, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So we do have an after show. It's a very exclusive after show. Not everyone gets an invite. I wish that I could give one to everyone, and technically I can, but we don't do that, because I like the feeling of a show, of something that's like really exclusive. I like the feeling of having something that other people can't have. I feel like that's my right as an American and as a
jock of all trades. I feel like as a jock of all trades, you have the entitlement to decide which trade you're going to go with. Are you going to go with the after show trade or with the, what have you? Portmanteau, your point, I think that's something that you
are spiraling.
I think that I'm starting to notice a trend with the show myself where I feel like I am underutilized when it comes to my ability to kind of back up Todd. And I want to back him up right now and let you all know that he can do whatever he wants after the show. Right, Todd?
I'm sorry. I haven't heard a word you said today.
Okay.
But okay, Todd, don't rip Jules on camera. That's one of his rules. Oh, Todd's Jules rules, right?
Yeah.
So that was then it was the after, and then James Francophile. That's very fun. I like that. And then Ryan Francophile, right?
Yeah.
And then rest in peace. And then Alice is confused. And so that's a great question.
Yeah, that got us here. That got us to now.
I guess that really brought us up to the present. I kind of figured we were missing out on something, but it turns out.
See, that's a good example of what I mean when I say I feel underutilized, because I'm actually here tracking the questions, making sure that the focus is really on the questions, and I feel like that's starting to get away from us a little bit as a community, and I for one am not fond of that.
And if I can just, I mean, since we don't have a question right here, maybe I'll just help you out a little bit and just give you a little bit of my psychological treatment of what I think is going on with you.
Sure.
And so, there are a few things. Obviously, one is the mustache that we've talked about before. It's something that your wife has already voiced that she hates, and it's something that you keep doing anyway. And then you like love to keep talking in these, even though it's not a show about you. And I feel like you are drawn to hate to attract hatred because you know that that's a kind of attention that people respond to. And it's very hard to cultivate love, but it's very easy to cultivate hate. I call that cultivating. And there's another portmanteau for you. It's pronounced portmanteau. I'm not going to say that again.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that again. And so I think that is your way of
You did it now.
Hey, Todd, would you ever want to clone yourself?
Yeah, this is a great question. First of all, it presupposes that I haven't, but not again. I'll say not again. And the reason why is, at first it was a lot of fun. I mean, I have to be honest, my hand from giving high fives was in pain for weeks because it was just me and my clone basically just giving each other high fives and back slaps. And that was great. It really was, until basically we got in a little bit of a disagreement outside about the gardening. Actually, it turns out that my clone and I sort of had a split. It's kind of like how when there's two universes and they split, there's one micro difference, and it turns out that
good example, relatable example.
And I prefer
happens every day.
Red tulips, and my clone preferred yellow tulips, and we got in this big argument about this, and we were shouting and screaming, and the neighbors were coming around, and I was shouting, "I don't love your two lips," and he was shouting, "I don't love your two lips," and it caused a lot of confusion about a few things amongst my community. And to be honest, he's now pushing up those tulips, if you know what I mean, and daisies as well, because I had to put an end to that. What was the next?
I'm sorry.
Did we have another question?
You killed him?
Yeah, hold on. I kind of want to linger on that a second longer too. Is that
rewind? You killed that guy?
Well, it's I mean, let's.
You buried him under like it sounds like in a flower bed or something.
Yeah, I feel like you're being metaphorical here, Todd. Is this an actual?
Didn't sound like it. It did not sound like it.
Well, hold on, because Kyle and I recently.
Is that suicide or manslaughter?
Well, I want to get ahead. I want to get ahead of this a little bit because Kyle and I recently had this funny idea
great
for a prank.
Portmanteau.
Manicide.
It's a great portmanteau.
Kyle, you remember this, right? Recently, we had this funny idea. We were gonna send a picture of Todd to this mutual friend of ours.
That's right.
And he was gonna show up at Todd's house wearing some clothing that was similar to what Todd wears. And he was gonna do this funny joke where it was like, "It's me, I'm your clone. We did this whole thing." Right. And then I heard this from you, Kyle. You didn't hear back from that guy for a while. And I don't know if we should be talking about this on the show or if this is something we should take offline, but now I gotta be honest, I'm a little concerned.
I paid a Todd impersonator to pretend to be Todd's clone a couple weeks ago. And I just thought he had such a fun time that he never came back to me for his $50.
Are you guys? Hey, are you guys?
Sounds like Todd owes you the deposit thing.
Are you guys my leg right now?
Are we jocking your leg?
You pulling my chain?
We're a little bit. Just kidding. But did you really murder?
What was the next?
The next question was from Michael Nolan. It says, "Hey Todd, between your comments about Zoom fatigue, trademark pending, hammocks, and parenthesis in the Slack channel parenthesis marriage, it seems like you might have some problems with intimacy. How have you managed to keep it at bay so successfully?"
Jesus, Michael.
Yeah, right for the jugular there, Michael.
How have I managed to keep?
No, I mean, I have problems with intimacy too. In that I don't like it, and I feel like Todd's a great example. He's an inspiration to me of someone who I can keep it properly back a little
bit. And that's a great question, Michael. And I don't know why there is a stigma in our culture, and why people think that intimacy is something that is
desirable,
that everyone should want. Yeah, desirable. Thanks. I got it though. But and so my answer really is it's very simple to keep people at bay. All you have to do is simply be better than them, and people cannot stand that. It just repels people. And it's not even that I'm telling people, hey, I'm better than you. I'm just showing them, and I'm living my best life.
Like something you exude.
I'm sorry?
It's more like something you exude. Is it like a mindset? Or?
Yeah, I exude it. I mean, and I said I don't have to say it. I do say it.
You don't have to. No, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of the thing about being better than everyone else, is they just assume that you're pretentious, just because you're better than everyone. And I think that is an unfair assessment, but it's fine because I don't need them. They can drink haterade for all I care. I've got a bed of daisies and tulips that they can visit if they have a problem with it. You know what I mean?
You have to.
Yeah. Did you kill that guy?
Anyway.
I know. Why are you talking about killing people? Did you kill that guy? Because
that's not what I said.
You keep alluding to it, like you're just backpedaling away from
it. Right there, always right there for you.
It's on your mind so much.
I come here for help and advice, not for threats.
It's just weird.
I don't think it was a threat. I was saying they could visit the flowers.
No, that's not what you were. No one thinks that's what you were saying. Nobody thinks that.
No, sir.
Not at all.
I think some people might.
Okay, looks like we've got one question left, and we're going to wrap it up with this one here. Hey, Todd, are you going to have some Ask Todd mask swag anytime soon? That's from Katrina.
Thank you, Sandy, for your support. And Katrina, I actually haven't been down to the swag department and seen what they're cranking out recently. The last time I saw some Ask Todd merch out in the wild, I kind of freaked out. I thought that it was counterfeit. I didn't know that it was something we had produced, and it was someone was wearing a hat. I took it off their head. I threw it on the ground and I stepped on it, and I said, no fake Ask Todd hats, and then it turned out that we had produced it ourselves. And I'm getting a call from you right now, Tyler. What's this?
Yeah. So I'm calling the phone of that guy that Kyle knows the number, and it's ringing in your house apparently. So
oh my God,
that's weird.
You took his phone? Why didn't you just throw it away?
Did you borrow your? Did you borrow?
Are you still on the
listen? Did you everyone? Everyone, listen. I hate to do this, but we're gonna pull the plug on today's episode.
Okay,
we're gonna wrap it
cliffhanger.
up here. We've got some things we need to talk about. We might be back next week. I can't. No promises.
Thank you all so much for coming.
Your ass is gonna be indicted next week, more like.
We are so screwed.
Oh man.